the Toon. Oh, actually decides to put his money where his mouth is. Stays the R.O.B. I guess he's really trying to make this, this counter pick work, and I can definitely see it because I think he has Obmcbob, and it's generally Jakal favored, but it can be tough. It's definitely one of those matchups where like even though you're not really favored as Toon, it's like you have the options where you can do.
For sure. Coming in off stage, it seems to be the fares coming out from Jakal that are going to be what seals out this sub 30 second stock.
And Obmcbob actually having the same reaction that I did. It's like, it looks like Jakal finally, went to the mountains, did some meditation, pulled a Momo on the monk, really looked deep inside himself and realized where he was kind of losing is off those corner positions. He wasn't quite overextenuating because, Toon Link as a character really struggles in those positions where he's kind of forced to play into somebody off of his defense rather than just like, oh, they undershot their ledge trap, their edge guard, and now I can just down air or forward air or bomb.
For sure.
2 quick stocks for you, Kate.
Yeah, an unfortunate SD from Obmcbob though. However, Jakal's going to be able to prolong this lead as much as possible, finding himself off stage and disadvantaged yet again. Now coming back in and able to avoid the nair, able to get an up air, trying to put as much damage as he can on Jakal, air dodging to the other side and actually going to get caught by R.O.B. yet again. The trade coming out, sending Jakal off stage, able to avoid the bomb in order to recover, going for the spot dodge at the center, not able to get any damage off of it just yet. The up tilt into the up air though, going to close out this game in like a minute and a half.
Both players laughing at just how the inverse of their first set, where it was very just much like, Jakal had so many moments of brilliance, but he couldn't quite put the pieces together and stack up to a win. And Obmcbob just kept every lead, but as soon as Jakal kind of got the momentum swing, he's like, okay, this is how I need to be approaching this. A lot of grounded, extended ledge traps, and like occasional short pokes with his own projectiles, rather than like a long, extended zoner v zoner battle.
Absolutely, this is just a completely night and day R.O.B. that we've seen from game number 1. Air dodging in order to avoid the gyro, Obmcbob going to be able to send Jakal far up, going to send him farther to recover, and now Jakal trying to come back in with the nair and going to get hit with a nair from Obmcbob instead. Coming in with the fair and then the up tilt into the up air, not able to get the stock, however the nair coming out from Jakal, able to send Obmcbob into a ledge trap situation. Going to get the down tilt, and it's actually going to be Obmcbob who's able to reverse the situation, coming back in with an F tilt into the up air, and that's going to be the first stock of the game, going to Obmcbob this time.
Yeah, and this is where it's starting to look more like that first set, where it's like short trade for short trade, whereas, if you're not quite getting like a nair bear or something into like his few meaty moves, is Obmcbob's actually, as Toon Link, has a much better standard DPS of short trade for short trade. Versus, his nair is doing about the same damage, but his fair is doing 15% versus, versus Jakal's fair is only like about 7 or 8%. So it really kind of hurts him, where it's like if he's just getting like a down tilt chip here, forward air chip, whereas if he's taking these stronger moves from Obmcbob can play at much higher percent.
For sure. I was sort of surprised to see the stock from the jab just now. But going to continue on with his onslaught. Seems to be Obmcbob dodging into the other side of the stage, and Jakal looking for the openings yet again. The up tilt into the up air, not able to take the stock for Obmcbob, but able to sort of pile on some of this damage, waiting for Jakal to come and meet him. Able to get the nair, sending Jakal to the other side of the stage, all the way off stage, as he's forced to air dodge in order to recover. Getting hit with the bomb from Obmcbob yet again, and it's going to be the spin attack that takes the stock.
Yeah, and Jakal just back in a position where he doesn't quite feel confident, and he feels like he needs to kind of swing the situation back into his favor, and Obmcbob is just ready and willing to wait for that opportunity to present itself with an up tilt, up the shield, even just having a bomb in hand, and just that pretty much lets you punish most things in the game because item tosses are so fast in general for across the cast.
Absolutely. Coming back in with the air dodge, it's actually going to be the down smash, not able to get the stock just yet, but Jakal going to get the dare, taking that stock in pretty quick fashion from Obmcbob. Coming back into this side of the stage now, able to get some damage, and then it's going to be Jakal who's able to send Obmcbob off stage yet again, air dodging over the robot in order to recover, sending Jakal off stage this time. Oh, and then the boomerang into the F tilt, waiting for Jakal to overextend, still able to get the damage, but not able to get the confirm. Coming back in as he comes to the upper platform, it's going to be Obmcbob who goes for the nair in order to send Jakal all the way to the other side of the stage, and another game. So we are going to get more games on the board, definitive fashion from Obmcbob, as really he was the person who got the first advantage in this game number 2, and then you really saw him hold on to it and just really extend those combos a whole lot more than what you saw in game number 1. Game number 1, he seemed to be super snuffed out, and then even though Jakal was able to take some quick stops, it was ultimately Obmcbob who was really able to play around his disadvantages.
Yeah, and that's where it comes, you know, it all circles back to the fact that Jakal is constantly in these positions where he's forced to overcommit, and despite having the positional advantage over Obmcbob has those strong, you know, defensive tools he's playing around, and he's not like, all right, I'm in the corner, I'm not going to try to force myself out of the corner because I know Jakal wants to do something when I'm in this position. So if I just wait till, you know, eventually not press the safest button, and that's where I can then take my turn back and get out of the corner. You can go for a reversal a couple times we saw it.
Yeah, for sure. Coming back in, and like, you know that's exactly the sort of adaptation that you want to see, especially going into this set. The up air coming out from Jakal, able to take the first stock of the game. Now Obmcbob sort of grounded, now looking for something against Jakal, able to sort of extend some of this damage off of the upper platform, coming back into the center, getting the F tilt as Jakal air dodges to the ledge in order to recover. The nair is coming out from Jakal, not able to bring anything to fruition just yet, able to get the up air though, and now coming back in with even more nairs as Obmcbob is sort of forced to play around his shield, not going to get the edge guard with the gyro. The fair coming out from Jakal as Obmcbob recovers, not able to get the chain grab. The back air coming out from Jakal, and then it's going to be Obmcbob who tries to follow that up with an up air, not going to get it, but it's actually going to be the up tilt that does it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, we're starting to see some Wolf-like ledge trapping where it's a lot of the using the extension of the range, constant resetting for roll distance, so that way not only you're outside of any potential reversal from Obmcbob, but if Obmcbob, you know, tries to roll out or, you know, dash out, you're at the perfect position for him to just come lovingly into those ones and zeros, all coded into that if-then-else-then situation.
Absolutely, Hunk. As you can see here, Obmcbob trying to do his best to be a decoder. Unfortunately, going to... Oh! Jakal not able to get the extension off of that, and Obmcbob going to live to see another stock. Coming back in here to the other side of the stage, Obmcbob finding himself far in disadvantage, able to recover with the spin attack and able to avoid the down air from Jakal. Trying to put some more damage on the board, especially trying to utilize this full rage, but it's going to be the down smash that ultimately snuffs it out.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about up tilt 1 is because of the way, you know, its frame data works, is that if you ever fall out of it, it actually gets true follow. Like low percent, you can actually up tilt 1 grab, or up tilt 1 into up tilt, you know, another up tilt, and you use that against Obmcbob, because even though there is a frame cap for him to air dodge out, you know, if you air dodge out, you're going to get frame capped by that down smash. Very good awareness coming out from Jakal, but the biggest thing is we often see these stocks being taken when Jakal's up here and he's forced to run off the platform because he doesn't have a wolf button to protect him. He can't just run off there and just have that, you know, wolf bear protecting him. He can't nair on top of Obmcbob as easily because it has a lot more startup, even though it's a lot safer in most positions.
Yeah, really great analysis there, Hunk. Coming back into the set, though, it looks as though Obmcbob is really looking to extend some of this damage as much as possible, trying to get off the ledge. Coming back in against Jakal, though, but finding himself on the other side of the stage, able to utilize the boomerang in order to sort of extend some of this damage, but the nair coming out from Jakal, putting Obmcbob in a very precarious position as he's forced to recover high. Utilization of the tether grab, but going to get caught with the gyro as he's able to come back again, then going to be able to reverse that and take the stock from Jakal.
Not quite a smooth criminal with those moves, getting his own stock stolen with a reversed forward tilt from Obmcbob, that's the biggest thing, is that he knows where he wants Obmcbob, and he's playing to his movement. He's getting more comfortable, but just not having quite that instant, like, wolf forward tilt, you're gone, your stock's taken, is starting to hurt Jakal, and he has to play around a lot of these slightly more committal options, or options that have a lot less range and take a little more set play to get off.
Absolutely. This full rage, though, from Obmcbob, you can see Jakal sort of starting to sweat in his boots. Obmcbob able to send Jakal off stage as he's forced to recover sort of high against Obmcbob. Coming back to the center, trying to re-establish his spacing, but it is going to be the landing hitbox of the Nair that takes another game for Jakal.
And I almost, a little bit of commentator's curse almost came out in that scenario, that final scenario. As we saw, he ended up getting hit coming off the platform. That was the biggest thing that Jack's been struggling with, is whenever he's on that platform trying to fall through it, he doesn't have an instant button. So Obmcbob every time has been always like beneath him and ready, consistently punishing that, and he'll take like 20 here, 20 there, maybe even a 30 or a 40, and that adds up fast. Especially versus a character like Toon, who, once he gets you about these 90s, these 110s, has like both bomb and boomerang forward air to close out the stock.
For sure, and you can see, though, Jakal getting a pretty quick lead against Obmcbob, able to up air him in order to extend some of this damage into the Nair. The down air, though, coming out from Obmcbob as he's able to try to reverse the situation for himself, sending Jakal off stage, going to extend with the boomerang as Jakal is forced to recover high in order to try to avoid as much arsenal as possible. Not going to avoid that up air, though, coming back in with his Nair. Obmcbob finding himself in disadvantage now. The fair coming out from Jakal, and then not able to recover, unfortunately going a little bit too deep and not able to recover with the spin attack.
Yeah, that's just something that I really haven't seen so much in a R.O.B set that's really coming off, is just how of a weak spot it is for, especially without the shield dropping to the platforms, is getting down as R.O.B, as Jakal's R.O.B. You either have to wait a minute, set up a Nair, and that time Obmcbob just double jump all the way up there with an up air to get him, or trying to do a shorter Nair that won't quite cover you as well after a fall through the platform.
For sure, the up air coming out from Jakal as he's going way off stage for that side B and able to take the stock from Obmcbob. Obmcbob trying to come back, able to utilize his Nair in order to get some damage. Utilization of the boomerang, exactly what you want to see to extend his combos. Coming back up with the spin attack, and now Jakal able to sort of play for this ledge trap situation, though going to be ended with the F tilt from Obmcbob. Obmcbob, though, going to be sent to the other side of the stage, able to go for his own damage out of the Nair from Jakal, and able to extend that to take the stock.
Yeah, and it just keeps circling back the fact that Jakal will get these positions where he has an extended advantage, and he tries to keep on getting that +1, and overextends, and Obmcbob's waiting for him. And that's the thing that he's getting more comfortable, and it's happening in spots where he's already up, so it's not going to affect him as much, but it's still, quite the crutch that is getting exploited.
For sure. That's actually a really good thing, and I'm glad that you pointed it out, Punk, because going into this, it seems to be that Obmcbob is really taking a lot of this damage and running with it. You can see the even percentages on the board, but it seems to be that Jakal is the one who is struggling the most with landing, and just as I say that, it's going to be Obmcbob who takes this game number 4, forcing us into a game 5 situation as these two are duking it out for who gets to face Glutamate in the grand finals.
He had Jakal had a very solid lead that going into that game 4, whereas he forced the Zair. He forced the Zair with the laser and punished it with the side B. And then only at 60%, that's 3 combos, even confirmed combos. Finally, we are seeing Wolf Dano, but again, it's just now that you actually can easily kind of maneuver and move through these platforms, I wonder if Obmcbob is still able to vary up his play and play more towards his range of a pivot grab, max space forward tilt, and still quite exploit that same crutch that he found out earlier versus the R.O.B.
Absolutely. I do think that that's going to be a pretty big game changer, though, for Jakal, as he's able to put one of his quick combos on the board, the nair into the fair into the nair, able to get a quick stock for himself.
Yeah, that's the thing where you could tell that his down B, the down B timer was ticking, and he wants to, like, oh, if I neutral get up and he doesn't punish it, I can immediately swing out with my bomb, and it's gonna be ready for cooking for him. And that's the thing. So sometimes you have to realize, like, okay, this bomb was a deterrent. It's deterred it. Roll in, and then worst case, I get back there. Or like maybe I get smash attack. You're about 90. So you only get it like highest. You're only really gonna lose a stock to that fair bear. That's his loss condition, and that's another thing at these higher level games is recognizing not only your win cons but your loss cons. To find that middle ground.
Yeah, very well said, Hunk. As these two are resetting to neutral, it seems to be that it's going to be Obmcbob who actually takes the first blood, going to try to utilize some of his arsenal in order to extend the damage, going to send the bombs over to Jakal as he's forced to jump to the other side of the platform in order to put some spacing between the two of them. The wolf laser coming out as well as the shine in order to get some reflection going. Obmcbob trying to extend something while Jakal is on the upper platform. Jakal knowing that, still getting hit with the nair, coming back in with the nair of his own, not able to get anything off of it just yet, and it's going to be Obmcbob who's going to send Jakal to the other side, still continuing on with this damage. Jakal able to get, but the bomb able to interrupt the combo from Jakal. Great utilization of his arsenal from Obmcbob.
Yeah, Obmcbob, it seems like he's finally starting to get a sort of comfortability with how he needs to be playing these neutral interactions and baiting out Jakal's overextensions. But that's the thing, is that Jakal, he's much more practiced in this character, but he just feels like with the Wolf Laser having actual, like a even speed, consistent counter poke, like a full screen counter poke, so he doesn't feel as pressured to re-engage and to play into what Obmcbob is trying to, mind game him into doing.
Absolutely. And it is last stock, unfortunately, for Obmcbob, so now is the time that he needs to make something happen. Going for the boomerang as he's trying to prolong this set as much as possible, jumping over the wolf laser, coming back in. Jakal going to go for the wolf flash and actually not getting it. That stock going to Obmcbob as Obmcbob was ready and waiting for it.
Yeah, at 170, it's any move takes it, and when you can throw a stock off stage with reckless abandon as a character, like in the Wolf and Toon match, where if Toon gets sniped out of any of his recovery attempts, it's pretty much the end of his recovery, because his up B doesn't have great drift in this game. His Zair, while very reliable, leaves him open all throughout the travel time. And his double jump isn't, it's no Falco or ZSS double jump where you can kind of just press it and you're up and away.
For sure. I really do think that, the R.O.B was something that Obmcbob was able to better find the disadvantages against, and, with your tried and true main, that's going to be a little bit harder to do, especially if you are forced into a Game 5 scenario, like Obmcbob was. But I do think that all in all, it still proved to be a very close set. We got 5 games, and a 2-stock final game, still a really hard fought battle is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, he made Jakal really sweat for every stock, and he beat the R.O.B. He thoroughly had a nice understanding of the R.O.B, and that, especially towards the end, was getting more and more seasons of a R.O.B, not as quite, zero to death reliant, as you see at the top levels with Zachary's R.O.B and obviously Zamba, the big head of the R.O.B army. But those neutral positions that Jakal had been playing, he was getting enough out of it, and just his understanding of the ledge as a mechanic in this game, even the playing field and even